Welcome to this podcast, Holistic Creators, where we share our unique and universal stories about shaping the future for the 4 Ps: people, planet, purpose, and profit. My name is Swanette. I'm a mental coach and your host of this show. My intention for this show is to inspire you on your path to a holistic future. So welcome. Welcome to my podcast, Holistic Creators. My name is Swanette, and I'm your host. Today I have Campbell as my guest. Dot is a founder of the Self-Power Center and has been training and mentoring individuals on proven quick and easy stress management methods that will result in success on both a personal and professional level for over 30 years. Success is a choice, and Dot gently guides each individual in identifying and attaining the choice that results in a life of balance, love, and peace. She has a doctorate in Metaphysical science, a master's degree in education, is the National Guild of Hypnotists certified hypnosis instructor. I don't know how to spell that. Usui and Karuna Reiki master teacher, an intuitive Dowser, a graduate of the Silva method, the Open Door School of Energy Healing. She is also certified in advanced hypnosis, NLP, EFT, and mind-body therapy, and is a holistic intuitive coach. Dot is a speaker on an international level and published author. So thank you so much for being my guest on this show today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I'm sorry that was such a long bio there, but I've been around a long time. So as I mentioned before, I've been doing spiritual teaching and guidance for over 30 years. So this is something that comes very natural to me. I started at a very young age to do this before people was about, and I love all of your information about you, is how you got into this and what you're doing now, and in particular about the planet, because we need a lot of healing planet. But I do a lot of different issues in my teaching and guidance, and I find stress right now with these things, especially as we went through the pandemic, people just being in the house with the same people for weeks and weeks and weeks was making even people that loved each other not be too happy. So it's been up to for me to be able to help a lot of these people get out of their own ways with the amount of stress that they have with their loved ones. So, what questions do you have for me?
Yeah, so I really would like to understand firsthand, what is that brings you out of bed on Monday mornings? So what are you really passionate about?
Basically, I'm passionate about guiding people to create and live the life that they're really here for. So many of us are living lives that someone else said we should live, or that has been put in front of us, by families, by friends, by peers, by corporate, saying, this is where you need to be, this is where, and they're not really happy. Their souls aren't singing, their hearts aren't happy. It's just, you get up and you go. And I love the fact that every time I get up, I'm excited about who can I help today? And what information can I share with someone that's going to make this day for them have less stress, more happiness, and to feel that healing energy flow through them that is the source of everything we need to be doing.
Yeah.
So that's why I jump up every morning.
Wow, this is so amazing. And I can definitely see this as well, that a lot of people are in the corporate world, they're doing their job to earn their money and coming home being tired, having lack of energy, not feeling fulfilled. But it is like, okay, this is what they're doing because they have no concept that they are able to change and create really the life that they deserve, and that, brings them up on Monday mornings to really do this kind of work and understanding about soul purpose. How can we figure out what our soul purpose is?
Well, I'm myself a holistic intuitive, because I find when I'm talking to people and we start discussing things, I want intuitively know what the next question is I should ask them. to get them to go to the next place. And a lot of people, when I ask them the question, they go, why did you ask me that? And I go, about why I asked you, what's your answer? And then when they get the answer, we start on a whole path of, well, why aren't you doing that? Or if that's really the answer to that question, then don't you have some responsibility to go that direction? Even if you do it on a part-time basis. When my spiritual work, I started it on a part-time basis because, again, I was working in corporate, and I actually was working in the financial industry, and I was a hypnotherapist and a Reiki master. I couldn't even say those words. 30 years ago, I could not say Reiki or say hypnotist in the financial industry. That had just escorted me out the door. So I want people to be comfortable enough, and that's why I started the Self Power Center. It's just a safe place for people to come in and ask questions and share what they're feeling without any judgment. That nobody in the group is ever going to say to them, well, why do you feel that way about it? And that, why would you even care about that? Everybody just goes, oh, what a good question. Let's look at that for a while. So it's just that level of comfort. I don't want anybody to go through what I went through when I first started, having to whisper in corners to get questions or just read every book I could get my hands on to. I want them open and available, and just call me, email, whatever, to take them on that path for their next spiritual step that's going to make them heal.
Can you share a little bit more about your story? So you have said that you have been in finances and at the same time already in hypnotherapy and Reiki. So what was your kind of pivotal moment that you decided, no, I really have to step into what I have to create here in this world and leave like the corporate world behind? Give us a little bit more of details about that.
I'll be happy to. I'm going to take you further back than the corporate world. I'm going to take you to 4th grade. When I was in 4th grade, they told my parents that I was slow. And back then you might have well said that I was retarded, that I was very slow and I couldn't, but I'm very stubborn. So I persisted in a way to move forward in my education. And at 42, I got diagnosed as dyslexic. But when I was in 4th grade, that word hadn't even been invented yet. Nobody knew what that was. I was just slow. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to somehow make it through this. So and I started because of this thing. I was slow. I was thinking, why am I slow? All of my family around me, my cousins that were like my same age and that, were very intelligent and were moving forward in their lives. I'm going, why me? Why did God give me to be slow? Okay. And after I got to 42 and they said I was dyslexic, I said, what does that mean? And they told me it was a learning disability. I said, well, that's interesting because I'm an officer at a financial institution. I have 2 degrees. I have a master's. I have a doctorate. What does slow relate to? So again, it's all a matter of what does that word mean to somebody? To me, it was a motivator. I was going to prove to everybody I wasn't slow. And even in the 4th grade, I began reading every book I could on the mind and the subconscious mind. And that's how I became a hypnotherapist, was like, okay, what is this doing? What is different about me? What can I control and change about it? So my whole basis for almost everything I teach, my Campbell 1 speech, let's talk about the subconscious mind. Let's take control of that. My book is all about the subconscious mind, because once you're able to control that programming that we've had from childhood and from environment and from peers and from corporate, you can change it. It takes a little bit of work, but you can change it. Otherwise, we're all programmed for the same thing. You have to make X amount of dollars. You have to have this title. You have to. So I just didn't go there. And when it worked for me, I started sharing it with, in particular, women in corporate, because they would come and ask me, how are you moving through the corporation so fast? You're not any smarter than we are. What's going on? I would sit down and I started doing classes for women for them to understand how they could change not so much the environment outside of them, but the environment inside of them. Because once they change that, as you know, once that internal process gets changed, there's nothing holding you back.
Can you explain a little bit more about, of course, now if you are in a corporate world, you have kind of a special environment, you have your rules, and like finances often is even a man's world. So how can you, on the one hand, you can't change that, but you can change inside. What was the training about? How did they learn to change themselves inside to, yeah, perhaps go quicker up the ladder or whatever their goals were?
Well, a lot of it, again, is the subconscious mind internal programming. You know, I was brought up that, you know, women didn't do this and women do that, and women didn't run corporates and do it. And it was just like, why? Our brains are just as big as the man's brain and as they could do it. So it was an internal process we worked on to change their internal perception of a woman in business. Okay, you know, it wasn't that they battled the men. We never did that. We just proved how smart we were by changing our view of ourselves. So the self-confidence, the self-esteem, are showing our abilities, because a lot of women in meetings would not open their mouths, you know, even if they had an opinion of full of men. Well, I never did that. I always spoke up. And 9 chances 10, what I suggested worked. So they started to me. It's not a matter of I'm battling this men. It's in, there's still times when you're in a male environment. Most of the industries I worked in were male oriented. It's a matter of how you feel about you. What's your confidence in you? What you think you can do, and what's your next step? And I found that all the reprogramming of the subconscious mind and then the energy healing I did gave us so much more confidence in what we're able to do and how we could actually manifest what we wanted in our lives without having to do anything outside of that. We didn't need the male egos to help us. We just needed it.
Okay. And what was your kind of pivotal moment to say, okay, I'm now leaving the corporate world and really step into doing the healing and energy work? Because this is a totally different business for sure.
Yes, it is totally different. And it happened. I just kind of eased myself into the spiritual world because I started teaching hypnosis classes. And from there, I went to Reiki and some other healing modalities while I was still in the corporate world. So I didn't pull that all together. When I left the corporate world, I created my own consulting business. So in my own consulting business, then I could control the environment. So I could do what I needed to do for me and for all my clients. So I never, over the years, I have never looked for a job. I have never looked for a client. I have never marketed. I have never advertised. Everybody has always come to me through word of mouth. I have just always manifested my clients and my students. And through that process of the programming in my subconscious mind that I could do it, and the healing energy that goes along with it, that, you know, the vibration of your energy has so much to do, as you know, it has so much to do with how you're living your life, is what energy vibration you're at. So finally, even with the consulting business in the year that everybody thought the world was coming to an end, 2000, I stopped and I just went into a holistic business. And that's when I created the Safe Self-Power Center. And then everybody just came. It was like, you know, it's like, build it, they will come. And they just showed up, and I've had clients and students ever since then. And I've been doing, you know, the center I started in 90. So it's been around a long time. And it's just been amazing. You don't realize till you start this work how many people are out there hungry for the information and don't know where to get it. That's what's so great about your podcast and Potapalooza, because now there's a place for people to go. When I started, they had to try to find me. You know, it was like I was hidden in a basement somewhere. Now we're all out there. It's so good. And I went to your podcast and that, and it's just what you're doing is amazing. And it encourages people to say, this is okay for me to want to know this. It's all right for me to understand energy. It's all right for me to be who I am instead of trying to hide it and not let it go there. So I congratulate you. I love being with you and all these other people that are just very holistic and caring.
Yeah, oh, thank you so much. And I know that our audience is always very curious about how can they manifest their life that they really want to live. And some people really have big visions, but they are not able to bring this into reality and to manifest this. So can you explain a bit more how we can use like changing our mindset, energy healing, and all these different tools to really step up and create a wonderful life?
Yes. I love that you asked me that, because that's my favorite things. That I have a course called Intentional Manifesting, and all of my students that go through the course learn how to reprogram their subconscious mind. So there's no blocks. They're able to let go of old beliefs, or, especially, again, I have to go back to the women thing, because we go back to the fact that, women don't do that. I grew up in an environment where women don't do that. Women are at home taking care of their kids, they're cooking, they're sewing, they're doing that kind of, what do you mean you're going to go out and get a job somewhere? So first of all, I have to reprogram the subconscious mind to get rid of all that programming and put the programs in that will encourage us and motivate us to get where we want to go. And then along with the energy level, when we take that vibration of the energy level up, there isn't anything you can't manifest. It's like you ask, you get. We weren't put on this earth to suffer. We were put here to enjoy. And if that's the attitude that you have, that, I'm going to create this amazing life for myself, you end up creating an amazing life for yourself. So again, it's programming from your peers, from environment, how you grew up. I grew up right after the Depression, and it was like, you didn't have enough of anything. But I've never lived in lack. It's always been one of the first things I teach my students is you have to put this mantra out every single day. I'll always have more money than I need. And guess what? You will always have more money than you need, because you're talking to the universe, and the universe is going to give you what you ask for. So, was that a good answer? I mean, sometimes when I get into manifesting, I just go over the edge. I've seen so many of my students accomplish amazing things.
Yeah, so what I sometimes see in my coaching, that people are not aware of what is holding them back. So they don't know about their blocking beliefs. They don't know what is coming through their ancestral line. And bringing this out of the subconscious mind into the conscious mind is always already the first step. And then understanding, like, telling people, okay, this is not what I want. I don't want to work there. I don't want to have this. I want to get slimmer. But they don't have a clear vision what they really want to attract. And yes. For me, it is like, if you go into a taxi and tell the taxi driver, bring me away from here, he will ask you, so where do you want to go? And if you can't give him any ideas, he will perhaps give you a nice trip around the city. But then after a while you say, this is not where I wanted to go. And he will say, yeah, but I didn't have any other information, so I gave you what I thought it would be. And same with manifesting from asking the universe. If you don't have clarity about what you're asking for, how can this happen?
So you're so right. It's like, if you don't know what you want, how can you get, it's like, well, I just want, I don't know where I want to go. Well, then I can't take you there if you don't know where it is. So that's the first part. You're absolutely right. Having them let go of those limiting beliefs, and then focusing on, where is it that you want to go? What do you want in your life that would make you happy right now? 2 days from now, what would make you happy? And once you get them looking at that, as you know, then you're able to get them on the right track. Because as long as they're not sure of where they're at, like you said, you know, you can run up $300 bill in a taxi cab just driving around the city because you don't know where you want to go. So yeah, so they people that can kind of direct them some tools. That's what I do. I create anything for it. I give them the tools to be able to create their own life. So, and if you think about it, when we were children, we did it all the time. If we didn't like what was going on, we created another scenario.
Yeah, I think what is also very important, the time we were children, on the one hand, we were very intuitive. We were still connected with the higher realms. So for us, it was really easy to be creative and to experiment. Also, like, failure was okay, no, I have to stand up again and try it again and again. So it was not a disaster. So
right.
all these kind of concepts we had as a child are kind of often trained away or educated away, so that we have to behave differently. And now we don't have the connection anymore, or think, okay, I have this kind of feeling in my stomach that something is going wrong, but our conscious mind is telling us now the pros and cons. It's definitely a yes. And after that, we figure out, okay, my intuition was right. So I think this is also a topic. Can you tell a bit about your opinion on that?
On the change as you grow up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. First of all, what happens is, in order to visualize and create something that you want, your imagination has to take over. You have to be able to visualize what you want before you can even ask for it. And unfortunately, children get to the point where we say to them, stop daydreaming. Stop, we make them kind of turn off their imagination. So the minute we turn off their imagination, how can they create something if they don't imagine it? The first part is you have to imagine it to create it. So if we've already turned off that part of them that does the imagining, where do we go from there? So we kind of have to go backwards now. We have to go back to taking the time to really create that imagination again, so that we can envision. That's why a lot of people have difficulty with manifesting a visualization or meditation, because they can't sit still. They have to be something. If they're not in motion, they're not doing anything. And sometimes when you stop and do nothing is when you get the best ideas.
Yeah, I also think that having this kind of moments of stillness where you try to eliminate all the thoughts that are coming through, like what has been in the past and what do I do tomorrow, but really being in the present moment, being in your body, being connected to the now, and having a moment of stillness, and then see what is coming up. Yeah.
No, it's perfect. What you're saying is perfect. That's exactly it. And really, you have to kind of train people to do that. Unfortunately, our world now and being in corporate and that, it's like, how do we slow down now to get into our bodies to understand what's going on inside of us? We don't do that. There's always something, floating around inside of us saying, well, did you turn the stove off? Did you get this? Did you stop and do that? Did you try? All of these conscious things are coming at us to take that time to do it. In fact, I have a session that I teach everybody that's about creating your day, and every morning before they ever leave the house or start anything during the day, they sit down and they imagine and visualize what they want their day to be like. So even if it doesn't come out as perfect as they want it to be, they've already left the house with such a positive attitude of what they want for that day, that even if something goes wrong, they're able to deal with it. It's like, oh, not a problem. I can move on and do something else or change it. And that's where you're going back to the children. You're going back to, If I'm making mud pies and it's not working because I don't have enough water, I'm going to find something else to play with, or I'm going to find a bucket of water to put in with the mud pies because my imagination is taking over. But unfortunately, we become adults and it's all about absolute things that have to be done.
Yeah, I also see that not having this kind of imagination in the morning when you're perhaps even still in bed and your brain is still in this kind of level between sleeping and becoming awake. So this is a good state also to start to create and to manifest. And yeah, you spoke about different kind of frequencies and how we vibrate energetically. So I think this could be also an interesting topic to go a little bit deeper. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
The vibration of energy?
Yeah.
I found that the easy way for me to explain to people and for them to take it over and actually work with it is the fact that when you're dealing with a lot of negativity and you're having a lot of negative things going on, your vision gets very low. It's like, you know, you're not feeling that good about things that are going on. But when you can stay on the positive side and the upside, what you want to do, that vibration gets higher and higher and higher. And the higher your energy vibration is, the more good things you can pull into your life. You know, and if you want to talk about emotions and feelings and that's really where it all comes from, is your subconscious mind is working off of your emotions. So if your emotions are very negative, how can you get yourself out of that? Because then everything that happens looks bad. And we just go into that circle of, oh, well, this is, you get up in the morning and go, okay, it's going to be one of those days. So you just start pulling yourself down in a minute. So why not say, oh, it's going to be one of those days. Yay, here we go. So that's what I kind of guide people to, is if you're going to envision your day and create your day, let's do it as something excellent. Let's do it as something happy. Let's do it as something that's going to make you feel good, that at the end of the day you go, wow, look what I did. Not, oh, look what I did. You know, and again, so many people are catching on now and understanding that a lot of it, I teach a lot about words because words are so potent to everybody when they're saying them. So
yeah, I see. So also getting awareness about your own emotions. So
yes,
that often people are not even aware that they feel frustrated or disappointed or are in fear or whatever, and not are in happiness. And therefore they are in these low vibrations. And I think this is also very important to understand. Okay, do some breaks during the day, stop for a moment and feel into yourself. Like, what is the emotion you feel and how do you sense this in your body? Like, very easy to do. You can do this even if you are waiting in front of the coffee machine or wherever you are.
Yes, yes, very good. It's, you know, the more you can get people in tune with their own feelings and emotions, then they can do something about it. You know, if they don't understand where that's coming from, you can't fix it. They can't fix it because they don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, in our world today, there's so much discourse and stress and illness and stuff. It's really hard to get people to move up into that vibration. So that's why I do the free energy transmissions a week, just to have people have 15, 20 minutes, half an hour of just meditation and feeling the energy. And it's not, a lot of people on the calls are not even energy workers. They're just people who want to get out of their everyday stress and conflict and things that are going, they would just go in a room and close the door and tell their family, leave me alone for 20 minutes. And then they can come back and they'll be okay. So it's good, but they have to learn to take that time to be able to do that.
Yeah. Wow. I'm sure my audience is now curious. How can they find you? How can they participate in what you're doing? Do you have kind of a website, social media? Let us know a little bit about that.
Okay, I'm just going to type in here. It's Campbell, holisticcreatives.com is the website. And if you want to catch me with an email, it's just .campbell.com. I always have to spell it out because some people just put the period dot instead of the name dot. So, if they want to contact me to get onto the free calls or anything on the website, it's fine. It's an open forum of everything that we do energetically. So if they have any questions, I'm happy to answer them and be in contact with them. And this has been delightful. I love talking to you because we have so many things in common, especially with that energy vibration, because a lot of people, when I talk about it, go, what do you mean, vibration of energy? Am I playing a drum or what am I doing? And I go, no, it's about you. It's, you connecting to a higher source, and the people that understand it, their lives are so much better and so much easier.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah. So I will put the website and email address in the show notes, and so people can easily reach out to you. And
okay.
I thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you for sharing your insights.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a delight.
Yeah. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye. Ciao. Thank you for listening or watching my podcast, Holistic Creators. If you want to know more about how I can help and support you, have a look at my website, spiritualchangemaker.com. You can also join my Facebook group, Spiritual Changemakers Community. Stay tuned for the next episode by subscribing to this channel. And you also can check the previous episodes.